Under the Scope.
Hey everybody, it is Jared. That's him. This is Shane. That's Audrey in the back, and this is the Scope.
Indeed.
Summer movie season. We're officially summer as far as I'm concerned.
We're into June now. It's like 90 degrees out.
Hot stuff.
Woo.
And guess what? We just got out of the latest superhero extravaganza entitled Wonder Woman, Jared.
Simply Wonder Woman.
Part of the DC comic book universe. Here we go. This is the one that every time there's a DC movie, everybody says, this is the one that's going to set the course straight. This is the one that's going to figure it all out for these guys. You know, Zack Snyder's been doing stuff. Hasn't been really liked that much. You've got Suicide Squad, Jared. That was not very liked.
And that was terrible.
We've got Justice League coming. Is it next year?
November. November.
November?
Yep.
So this Wonder Woman is kind of setting things up, I guess, for the character. I don't know, but she's got a movie, and we saw it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she made her first appearance in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Yes.
And now she's got her first full feature film.
And boom, there it is. It's a period piece.
It is.
Jared,
just what you want.
Name all the hot stuff actors that are in this film.
All the hot stuff actors? Well, you've got in the title role of Wonder Woman, although never really said in the movie at all.
Yeah. Wonder Woman never mentioned.
Diana, Princess of Themyscira, it is Gal Gadot. You know her probably best from the Fast and Furious films.
Yeah. I would know her best as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, there you go. You've got Chris Pine as Captain Steve Trevor,
yep.
American spy who has infiltrated the Russians. The Germans, we're talking World War I here.
Yep.
The Germans to steal some documents.
Yep.
And then tragedy strikes. Who else do we've got? We've got other people.
Yeah, there are a few.
David Thewlis. You know him from Fargo, Season 3.
Oh, and you know what? I knew that it was him, way later. I didn't even realize that it was him.
Who else?
Spud from Trainspotting.
Ewan Bremmer, yes. Robin Wright is in this. She
yes.
plays, I never quite could understand what her name was, but she is the general of the Amazonian army.
And I like that she sort of adopted the Gal Gadot accent, so everybody was consistent.
How nice of them.
Yeah, they didn't have her speak a straight, like a British accent or something like that. It was some odd dialects that worked well,
Indeed.
Actually.
Yeah.
It made sense.
Well, they speak 100 languages, Shane.
They do. And you heard a little bit of them in this film.
There's a host of other people. Some you'll recognize, others you won't.
Yes.
Kind of how it goes with them. I'm stating the obvious.
There's an actor who played a fairly big role in a season of American Horror Story who was the Russian.
Yes.
But I don't know the actor's name.
Nope,
but you recognize him if you saw him.
Yep.
So we've gone through that. Directed by whom, Jared?
Oh, boy. Patsy something?
Was it Patty or Patsy Houston?
No, that's not right. We're terrible with this. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yes. So why don't you dig into the plot? You know, give it a big overview, and then we'll talk content. Talk review.
Big overview. This is an origin story for Wonder Woman. You basically spend the first quarter of the film on Themyscira. I don't know how it's spelled. This hidden island that the Amazons, all women, live on. We get the backstory of who the Amazons are, how they fit into the whole Greek gods pantheon, and then danger strikes, as the Queen feared. A plane somehow pierces this veil that covers the island and makes it invisible and lands in the water. Diana rescues our young strapping lad, Chris Pine, Steve Trevor, but he is quickly pursued by German forces who are after him because he's stolen something dear to them.
Sauerkraut recipe.
Right. What this does is it exposes that there's a war going on in the world. Yeah. This is World War I. It's big and terrible, and lots of people, innocent people, have been killed.
Yes. And
Diana feels like it's her mission to go out. She believes that it is the god Ares who has
poisoned the minds
of humanity to fight war, and she needs to go out and right the wrong. Yeah. She needs to go and destroy the god Ares.
Her belief is if you kill Ares, you stop the war.
Yes.
Everybody else will come to their senses, and so she's pretty simplistic in that regard.
Well, and she's, not without reason. She was raised that way.
Yep.
So, she sort of has to learn as she goes in this world. So, obviously they're going to leave the island, and thus begins a bit of a fish out of water story.
Yeah.
But ultimately they're going to get back in the war, and they're going to try to save the day.
Correct. Yes. So, terrific summary, Jared, as always. That's
Right.
why I have you do it. So let's dig into this film.
Okay.
First of all, I think let's talk briefly about the fact that you've got this film breaking records. You've got it directed by a female. I don't want to belabor that point too much because I think that we've seen enough superhero films and it's not so novel to us that, hey, you can have a female star in their own superhero vehicle and be directed by a woman and it'd be a good movie. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It shouldn't be a head scratcher. You know what I mean? I mean, it should be the norm.
It's stupid that there's so much riding on this film. Female-led superhero film, directed by a woman, released in summer. I mean, but people are like, this better do well or we'll never get another one of these again, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because how many male-led and directed films have had high expectations and utterly bombs, and nobody decided to stop making male-led films.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you had a bomb for the original Hulk movie, and they made another one, and that one wasn't even very good. I mean, give me a break.
It's completely ridiculous that there's these expectations placed on it. However, we live in this world where that is, in fact, what is going on.
That being said,
yes,
I can say with happiness that this is the best of the DC comic book movies by a long shot.
Absolutely.
It's not even close. Now, I will say that with a bit of reservation in the sense that pretty much all of the DC comic book movies to me have been fairly garbage compared to this.
Right.
They have not been good. And this movie does have some elements of that visual language and the problem of being overly long, and has a video game aesthetic, especially in the fight scenes, which I don't like very much. And a darkness to it, which, hey, when they were filming on the island of the Amazons, it was really cool because, hey, we've never seen a DC movie that doesn't have that gray-brown filter on top of it.
Lots of color, lots of sun.
But then once you get into the world, you get that same thing again. And
you don't think that works as a nice contrast?
It does, but...
Maybe not if you've done it 4 times now.
To be fair, if this were the first DC movie, and maybe it should have been the very first one, because in history it takes place before any of the stuff that happens, then you get it, because you're in war, you can have that Saving Private Ryan type of look. And also it's sort of like showing the griminess of humankind,
Yes.
So I get it, but...
It literally commented upon when they first arrive in London.
Yes. Again, if this movie would have been made 3 movies ago, I would be a little bit more forgiving. But to me, it still is, well, we've seen this before, and it's nothing that's changed. I think Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I liked her way better in this than I did in Justice League, or in Batman vs. Superman. But Batman vs. Superman just kind of threw her into the mix.
Yeah,
like, you didn't know who she was.
Sort of just showed up.
This movie was an origin story film, and it's good that it was, because people don't know the origin of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be laid if you're going to do the story the way they did it in this film. You need to establish certain things.
Yeah, they tie it into the worlds of God and magic.
Right.
And it's complicated, and I think they did a good job handling it.
Way different than the TV show where she just spins around and turns into Wonder Woman.
Yes. I mean, so many people are, that show was a 70s show, so many people aren't even really familiar with it. So I don't even remember a lot of it, and I'm an old guy, so good for them. I think the acting overall was done very well. The chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot was terrific.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you could have a relationship where it's on equal footing. The woman doesn't need saving. And I think they probably go to extraordinary lengths to keep everything balanced or slanted towards the female side, which they should.
And given the era it takes place in, like 1918, obviously the patriarchy was firmly entrenched.
Yes.
So there's a certain shock to a woman having her own agency and not relying on a man for any sort of protection.
Yeah, and that's still, I mean, it's downplayed. It's definitely a sanitized version of that era, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it's done in a comic book movie, in a comic book style, so what more do you want? So, yes, I like that. Again, as I sort of hinted at earlier, there are aspects of the movie that did not play as well for me. I think it was probably a half an hour too long for what it was. There were draggy points. Just by coincidence. You do have the fish out of water, God fish out of water story, which we saw in Thor. You have the period piece,
but it was charming,
which we saw in Captain America. Well done, but it was there were things that maybe I thought they could have learned from those films and adjusted them. Who is that? That's Steven.
Small child in your yard.
But you know what I mean? I mean, I feel like I feel like some of the stuff that they've done, some of the stuff
we're getting looks
has been done before.
Bye.
We'll see you later on. But I mean, it doesn't make the movie a failure for me by any means.
Right.
I'm just saying that it was stuff that
it's a good movie with some faults.
Yes, learn from the stuff that happened before.
If anything, all of the DC movies so far have been overly long.
Yeah.
I feel like this one, while maybe a little long, doesn't feel that fault as much as the other ones. The other ones, when they were bad, they were really bad.
Yeah, for sure.
This one, when it's not as up to snuff, it's still mostly enjoyable.
Yeah.
So
and to this movie's credit, I cared about pretty much all the characters in there, even though I think the final battle, like I said, was video gamey, and they did not have a compelling main bad guy. That being said,
that's a problem with a lot of
movies. We've complained about that with superhero movies since day one. Superheroes. And
it's tough to make the bad guys compelling.
Yes, and if you can't do that, you have to make sure that the rest of the characters and the rest of the people in the film can overcome that, which I think they did, generally speaking. I mean, is this not the first DC movie that you've seen where you say, man, I'm kind of excited to see what they can do with the bigger world?
Yeah,
I didn't feel that way after Superman. I didn't feel that way after Batman versus Superman.
We saw a Justice League trailer right before this movie, and we both looked at each other and we're still like, I don't know.
Even after that trailer, Jared, even after this movie, I'm still like, they're not going to get this right. I mean, that's what I think. They're not going to get it right.
I am more excited for that film, though, after seeing Wonder Woman. It's not saying that I'm super excited. It's just my excitement level has now ticked up incrementally.
But there are other people who made Wonder Woman.
Correct.
That did not make...
This is correct.
That were not a part of that film. And frankly, I feel like there are parts of Wonder Woman, because Zack Snyder was a producer on it.
Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely the architect of this universe.
You can feel his fingers sort of pulling it. I'm like, get him out of there. Get him out of there.
In the visual style, in the art direction, he's still very much involved. If you're not a fan of action scenes with that sort of fast, slow speed ramping effect, which... I do like it in moderation. This film kind of overused it. Really overused it.
I think that it was. I think that it was more acceptable when she was fighting like normal people.
Yeah.
But once it came into where the final battle was literally all blue screen and gods are tossing each other around.
Probably CG characters anyway.
I mean, it looked. You know what it looked like to me? It looked like Soul Calibur is what it looked like. Yeah. It was Soul Calibur and Tekken together, and I have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
That being said, it's still there's still some cool stuff. They did some really cool stuff with the magic lasso, the lasso of truth.
That could have been really, really hokey.
Yeah. And they actually pulled it off pretty well.
That looks really cool. The problem you have with this, and this is a problem with Superman too, is that there's no obvious flaws to Wonder Woman. There's no, how do you defeat her?
Yes.
I mean, she literally has a purpose in this film that is revealed later, like, of who she is and why she's around. And so it's pretty much never in doubt what the outcome's going to be. And going forward, it's like, yeah, Superman has kryptonite, and that obviously pops up now and again too, but I'm not really sure what the obvious weaknesses are with...
Well, I would probably say bullets, because it was shown that people can be killed by bullets.
Yeah, but she's not her people.
Which is weird.
She's better than her.
More than that.
Trying not to spoil it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they sort of dance around it, but
she does get injured in the early fight scene, but it just heals really fast. So maybe that's the thing.
But like you said, she seems to be on strength level with like a Superman.
Oh yeah.
So the bad guys that they're going to have in Justice League are going to have to be pretty incredible.
But I mean, coming from outer space.
She did fight that Doomsday type character.
True.
But still, it's just. I think that has always been the issue with DC, hasn't it? Like their superheroes are so powerful that how do you relate to them when they're when they're always fighting other gods?
Yep. Well, I mean, and you can look at Marvel films too, and maybe their problem right now is that they're too reliant on Stark technology.
Yeah, but what?
Now we're getting off topic. So
it is what it is. But again, I think this, compared to every other DC film and compared to some other superhero films, this is a success. I think that Warner Brothers should be pleased with what they have, and I think that for their success to continue, they need to have a Justice League film is closer to this than it was Batman versus Superman and also Man of Steel.
Yeah, we'll see.
If they don't, I think that could be a one-trick pony.
Well, there's going to be a Wonder Woman 2,
Yeah.
so, and the same director is back, so.
And I would like to see a Wonder Woman story that maybe is even in modern times, you know?
Well, I think now that we've established, I
Yeah.
think that's probably what you're going to see, so.
I would like to see that. So there we go. Why don't we take a quick internal moment, Jared, to give it a score. Then we'll be back to wrap it up.
The Scope score is 3.5 stars.
So 3.5 stars. Full disclosure, Jared a little more high on it than I am, but I think that it is a pleasant surprise.
It's making me do this. That's how much I enjoyed it.
And a step in the right
Looks really weird when you get...
direction.
Oh, God.
You are doing very weird
Wide
things.
angle distortion at the edge of the frame. Looks weird.
So, Jared, stop creeping people out and tell people
I'll never stop creeping people out.
how they can communicate with us.
You can like, comment, and subscribe down below. Tell me how creepy I am.
I think that we'll get a lot of comments on that. So more movies on the way. Summer just keeps on rolling.
There's one on Tuesday that I may or may not see. You're not involved because you can't be.
Yeah, well, it's not completely out of the question.
All right,
but
well, let me know.
But we will see. So, yes, thanks for tuning in for this review to the Complete Culture Cast. We will be back with more reviews and more Scope soon. So until then, what, Jared?
Bye for... I don't know. What is it?
Bye forever.
Bye
Or
forever.
bye for now. Bye for now.